last week, I increased the record. It's now 1,036,000,000.
1,036,000,000. I remember I was talking on stream the other day, and I was like, I think it's 100 million. And you know when your brain's just gone, it's like 100 million. I was like, no, is that right? No, I said, no, it's a billion. I was like, no, it can't be a billion. What is it? Okay, anyway, right, let's get into this. So I guess in terms of you kind of pulling your team together, was it kind of just a direct, you looked at what Victor Tez was doing and tried to build something stronger?
Well, no. So the reason why I built the comp is actually because I'm in a free-to-play clan, so we weren't dropping Ultra Nightmare daily or anything like that.
Oh,
So
okay,
I wanted
yeah.
to do my part to help take it down, which this one worked out pretty well. I actually made several different clan boss teams to try to do as much as I could,
Yeah.
and this one worked out well. And actually, it was your video from what 8 months ago or so with
Yeah,
Victor
yeah,
about the
yeah.
team, and the team's exactly the same other than some gearing and stuff like that. It's the
Okay.
same tune, the same champs, so you should be a little familiar with it already.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously for me, I've not been able to build anything like it just because I didn't have a Krisk, and there's really not a lot of subs in this team, is there? There's not a lot of spots where you can just be like, I'll sub in whoever I want.
In
Basically
order,
got requirement of Krisk, requirement of Brogni, requirement of Corpulent Cadaver, yeah?
yeah, as far as the core three, those are definitely there. I mean, with Krisk, you can, well, you're not going to get the same type of team. You can still kind of do the Infinity style, but you're going to replace the shield every time if you're not using Krisk with that ally protect and everything. But yeah, other than that, it's those three is the core, and then you can use any of the other buff extenders.
Yeah.
Lanicus with the ally attack and Hellborn with the weaken are the best options for when actually going for the record.
So with Lanicus, because of her extra turn, do you ever have a situation where it's just not going to work because either she runs through buffs or anything like that? Is there ever a turn where it can fall apart for you with Lanicus?
Well, it happens in the beginning. So with her A3, so pretty much most of the champs only use their A3s or whichever one of their abilities once in the first round. With Lanicus, it's her A3 in the first round to put up the increased attack and put up the increased crit rate.
Yeah.
Increased crit rate. That extra turn that she can get there, if she gets it, 95% of the time she's going to run out of the buffs before you're actually in sync on the comp.
Right.
If you get
So you do
lucky,
use this as your first ability, but basically if she procs extra turn, which is a 50-50, what you just do a regroup and go again.
yep, yeah, just
Yeah.
close it out and try it again. Also threw me off once. The one time I let her take the extra turn and she her refresh accessories kicked in. So I knew that she wasn't going to run
Right.
out of buffs because she was just going to do it again. But then whenever I was getting to the final count, and I'm counting exactly to the 1,500 point threshold, I
Yeah.
forgot that she took that extra turn. So I ended
Oh
up
no.
wasting the key
Really?
because I
Yeah.
miscounted by one.
Yeah. Have you got anywhere near that world record again since?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I originally hit the 1 billion market. It was 1,015,000,000 was
Yeah,
the
it's
original
crazy.
record. After that, I hit a billion and then 9 million, I think. And then I think last week I increased the record. It's now 1,036,000,000.
1,036,000,000. I remember I was talking on stream the other day, and I was like, I think it's 100 million. And you know when your brain's just gone, it's like 100 million. I was like, no, is that right? No, I said, no, it's a billion. I was like, no, it can't be a billion. What is it? It's just like the numbers seem ludicrous. And honestly, I remember when Nightmare Clan Boss first came out, and it was tough, like really tough to 3 or 4 key, really hard. And like nowadays, you know, you're basically blowing it up in one hit. It's kind of nuts. Kinda
Tried
nuts.
to. Well,
Yeah. Well,
I think
I'm going to see
total.
how far I can get. So far, my personal record in Clan Boss is 200 million, and it's running this team, which I have just been playing. Basically, I've been running this team for a while. I have started to strip some gear off them, so actually, I'm not even 1 key in at the minute. But this team here has been my kind of best team that I've ever built to date, which is basically working around ally protecting and that type of stuff. So anyway, let's start building people out. I think this whole setup is now on Deadwood's site, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
The
Yeah,
kind
under
of speed
Krisk
tune of it.
builds.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure most of you do, deadwoodjedi.com. If you want to find speed tunes, if you want to find some of the best builds in the game for Clan Boss, you can come here, click on speed tunes, and then basically you can either find them by the champion that you want to kind of specialize in, or you can just kind of go down different types of speed tunes and find the ones that you want?
I was watching one of Deadwood's streams, and somebody had mentioned that I was at 980 million was my
Yeah,
record, and I just said it there. And they started talking about it, so I, spoke up like, "Hey guys, hi, I'm here." And then
nice.
he wanted to jump on the account, and I just happened to have Spirit Clan Boss that time, so he gave it a go to see if he could break the record on stream.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually got Spirit as well, so
Oh, you
I'm
got
actually
Spirit
pretty
today?
excited about this. Like, I am good to go for like the best possible chance. I'm gonna load this into the optimizer to try and get some of my best possible results. Did you use the optimizer and stuff for this? Do you do that, or do you just kind of handpick builds?
I made my builds myself before. I actually just got a new setup and everything, so I re-geared Brogni just the other day using the new GPU setup optimizer.
Yeah.
It got me a little more damage. This is my son. This is the one that's obsessed with YouTube.
Brilliant. Hello. So were all of yours maxed on each of the champions?
Not anymore. I actually took dupes out of the dwarf lineup, actually, because at the point now I'm trying to reduce everybody's defense so I can get them to die at appropriate times.
Oh,
Uh,
really? What? So it's just a full auto, and you don't have to worry about
Well, not
doing
only
anything with
that,
it.
so towards the end of the comp, everybody's going to, again, that 2-1 ratio, and they're hitting it. So once we get to that 1,500 turn limit, if we actually start killing off the champs that aren't putting up 3 million points a hit like Cadaver does, if we kill them off early, that gives more opportunity for Cadaver to take more swings and do more damage.
Yeah.
So I want to periodically kill them off throughout the fight to give him the most opportunity at the end.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Yeah. People saying why Hellborn? So Hellborn brings a small version of Weaken. There's actually not that many champions that do increased buffs, and there's even fewer that actually do something other than just the increased buffs. So Hellborn brings a small version Weaken. Otherwise, we'd have no Weaken in the team. And Lanicus kind of brings the ally attack. You could use Sandlashed. You basically want the ones that are on a 3-turn cooldown, though, don't you? Ideally.
Yeah, Sandlash, Gutseeker, and Neri, other options, but yeah, the ones we're using in this comp have a specific purpose for
Yeah.
what additionally they bring. Like Lanicus also has that increased crit rate, so you only need 70 on everybody else. On top of the ally protect, and Hellborn does it with that weaken, and the weaken ends up being pretty big.
So talk me through then in terms of building out stats here. 286 speed as a minimum for Krisk.
Yep.
Obviously the accuracy I need.
Yep. And then pretty much for everybody that's not Brogni, you're going to want pure defense to start because you're going to want to try to last as long into the fight as you can.
So with a Krisk, do you even care about like crit rates, any of this type of stuff, or are you just building defensive stats?
To start, I would definitely go straight defensive stats, like even down the defense mastery tier mastery tree. So you
Yeah.
want to get the iron skin for the extra 200 defense and everything. So essentially just building everybody as tanky as you can. Because even with offensive stats, Krisk puts up maybe 40k a hit. Hellborn's going to do like 20, 30k a hit.
Yeah.
Which pale in comparison to what Corpulent's going to be doing once you get him rolling.
Okay. So you still do War Master on them all, or do you have any with like a different defensive?
For Krisk and for Lanicus, I would go straight down the defense tree and give him extra defense. So get the iron skin at the bottom for the extra 200 defense.
Oh,
To
really?
start.
Right.
Again,
Interesting.
just because we want them to last. Once you get that full 1,500 turn limit, and then you can start dialing back the defense and adding the attack into it. But the
Would you rather
longevity.
take Iron Skin than over Bulwark?
Well, you do
For
want
someone like a
Bulwark on
Krisk?
one champ. So you want Bulwark. I put it on Hellborn just because it's an extra layer of ally protect that's gonna give
Yeah.
her more damage and thus make her die earlier
Sure.
because she is the one that we want to die first.
And then what? So you would then do support tree for the extra?
You definitely want the extra turn, so you want the support tree, one for the Aura Steel to help you get up there. Cycle of
Yeah.
Magic to get to his A3 some more, his A2.
Okay.
And then the buff extensions, because you want his decreased defense, also his decreased attack, but his decreased defense more importantly, to get that extra turn on the second AoE so that it survives through the stun hit. You can either go the one on the left there, I forget what it's called. It extends it just for the extra chance in the
Lasting
beginning.
gifts. Yeah.
Yeah, lasting gifts.
And then what else are you looking at here? You're looking for high value shields. Does that matter?
Yeah, I
Yes,
would
it
take the
does.
extra shield because that's gonna play towards Brogni's increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, both those guys. Sniper, yep.
Yeah.
Does her weaken on the A1. You want that extra 5%.
Yeah. So when you've built your best ever run, have you flipped to War Master to get extra damage or
Oh yeah,
still no?
yeah, definitely. I have.
You
I
have.
have
Okay.
also one thing I can do with Lanicus, which I haven't done yet, but I've already done with Brogni, is remove their second shield. So I don't put him in a divine set anymore, just because he hits hard enough that he doesn't need it. But yeah, like I said, once you get to that turn limit count and you're running into that wall, then you start dialing back the defense and adding more offense in order to up the damage.
Okay. Lanicus done. So Brogni might just already have the right masteries because of how I run him right now. But just talk me through. Maybe not, because maybe are you
Yeah,
looking for shield bearer?
definitely want the shield bearer. You also want the Lore Steel again, the extra chance of, or not Lore Steel, Cyclomagic. Offense was fine. You just want to go down the support tree. The HP burn does help. As far as his accuracy goes, you do want that accuracy one for the HP burn because that's just going to help ancillary damage. Also, his A2 reduces the cooldown of a buff on the boss, which he puts up the increased attack on himself. So
Yes.
with that
Yeah.
A2, it'll get rid of that.
Actually is helpful for that. Okay. Do we care about lay on hands on him or healing?
We don't need
Doesn't
heal.
really ever comes in, does it? No.
No, so we want the Master Hexer for the extra 5 on his extra 5. Yeah,
Sniper for extra chance to land?
I would go with both of them.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're just going into Giant Slayer like a normal
I
handle
didn't
setup over
stop you
here.
there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So one thing, if you flip over to Brogni's stats, one key point that I always that people overlook. So his base attack,
Yes.
782. It's
Oh, yeah,
very
yeah,
tough
yeah.
to
I knew
build
this as
his.
well. Yes. I
Very
did know
tough to build
this.
his attack. So that on that attack mastery or attack tree, instead of giving him 5% crit rate, it's best to give him almost 10% attack.
Yes. Good call out. People, listen to this. It's actually there's not that many champions in the game, but if you're trying to build a very low attack based champion, it's a really good call out. Yeah. So this is one of the few champions where you actually take plus attack. I did know that.
So the fun thing about the Giant Slayer versus War Master with Brogni is essentially the proc itself is going to do the same amount of damage since it's capped. The Giant Slayer allows for the additional procs of the Giant Slayer to hit on the reflect damage whenever the clan boss hits you.
Yeah.
But if you're purely looking at trying to get bigger shields, War Master is a 60% chance of proc, where Giant Slayer is only a 30% chance. So you actually have more opportunity to do the A2 using War Master versus Giant Slayer, but you lose all that ancillary damage from
So
the reflect.
You actually gain more shield on his A2 if a War Master procs, do you?
Well, the amount is the same. So with the decreased defense and weaken, it's about 61,000. That's the same whether it's a Giant Slayer proc or a War Master proc. It's the
Yeah,
same
but what I'm
amount of
saying is, so
damage.
I thought, and obviously I'm wrong, or it sounds like I'm wrong. I thought his shield was based on his physical hits and didn't take into account the War Master or Giant Slayer, but you're saying it does, yeah?
It does, yeah, for sure.
Crazy. Okay, nice.
So,
Awesome.
yeah,
I love it when someone comes on and I'm actually learning some stuff. So I take it you just go, 10% crit damage here?
Absolutely, yep.
And we don't really have any value from healing here, do we? Because we're not going to be low health at any point. Guess we'll take that for very late in the fight if it means anything. Awesome. Okay, so Brogni done.
Corpulent, you do want War Master on, just for the extra, but other than that, it's going to be straight down the attack tree and then the defense tree just to mitigate as much damage as you can on him. Uh-oh.
So we're buying a monthly pack, fellas. Literally the Krisk grind destroyed my account for resources and everything. So there we go. Monthly pack is in. So obviously this guy, the less damage he takes, the more damage he's going to do. Because everything about this guy is just, he does damage based on how big his shield is, right? Like crit rate's not important on him. Crit damage not important for that part of his kit. Obviously he can still hit. But in terms of just the damage from this crazy move, is there any stat at all that makes a difference to it?
No, I mean, so it does have that hit on top of the actual bonus damage from the amount on the shield. So you can get some crit rate and some crit damage and high HP just to get that extra little bit.
Yeah.
It's only going to equate to 10 to 20,000 per hit, so it's not a big deal in the long run.
Sure.
But other than that, it's 100% defense. So,
All I was wondering was, like, is something like Iron Skin potentially more value to him for longevity and kind of holding his shield as big as possible for the whole fight?
well, he's going to be the last one to die, just because everybody else is reducing the damage that he's taking. So he lasts the longest, and his shields stay there the whole time. So
Okay.
adding a little bit extra defense would only mitigate just a hair more damage.
Yeah.
But the amount of times, because you want him attacking as often as you can, him having the War Master proc at 61, an extra 61k
Got it. Yeah.
per attack is more beneficial, I think.
Okay. Cool. Right. So we can go on to builds. Let's go back to our build screen. Masteries are all done. So the optimizer will kind of pick that up. Right. So Krisk first. We've got the speed we need. We've got the accuracy we want. What's the kind of the numbers that I'm looking at here for defensive stuff?
Well, I mean, his defense is going to scale off of defense, or his attack is going to scale off of defense.
Yeah.
So pretty much as you can get. If you can get him some crit rate, well, actually, you want to avoid crit damage at this point because he is still the ally protector.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, an ally protector can actually, when you take a hit, a crit, the ally protector then multiplies that crit by his crit damage number. Weirdly, the coding is very odd, but basically it can just nuke you. So although high crit is not a bad thing, crit damage is actually pretty damn, well, it's about as bad as it gets, isn't it? Okay, so
Once you get to a point, I actually build mine with crit damage pretty high. I think I've got him almost 250.
Oh, have you? Right.
Once Brogni gets going and you get Brogni up to a certain level, then all that defense doesn't make any sort of difference because everybody's shields are too darn big.
For him then, do we want high HP or do we not care? Like the ally protection part of it, is that even important at all?
HP doesn't matter now.
No, okay. So in terms of sets then, he wants to be in Guardian set, right?
Guardian set and a Divine set, yep.
Guardian and a Divine. So
yeah, it doesn't
because
matter.
he's going fast, it's probably going to want Divine speed on him.
Right.
We've now got this thing added into the optimizer where you can actually say, I'm going to have buffs. Yeah, so you can say, I'm going to have a crit rate buff. And then if I put 100% here, it will actually find me 70% because it knows I've already got a crit rate on. As long as I pick that in the kind of battle section and I can copy that to all, then it will know that everyone's got a crit rate buff.
You do want to get a little bit of defense on him just so he survives as well. But other than that, I try to give him at least maybe 28 to 3,000 defense.
It's basically just a full damage build. Other than that, do we care about health or anything?
No, don't need HP at all. Yeah, just pure damage.
And what about a set for him? Reflex?
Did you get enough reflex gear to gear him out? I know we were talking about that.
Let me show you what I got. But I don't have tons. Like I can't. I could probably make 2 people in reflex.
That's all you need.
We've got like some good pieces. It's just whether we can get to the speed that we want. So we'll give it a try. And
so Atlanticus will probably take all your speed pieces, and then
yeah, because he's quite slow. His build's quite slow, isn't it? It's not too bad.
It's slow and doesn't require all the crit rate either, so you can focus on pretty much attack percentage and crit damage. For Corpulent, you definitely want Revenge. Atlanticus, you want as many refreshes as you can. Brogni, you can do the refresh gear if you have some good pieces, but I would go stats over refresh for Brogni. Yeah, I only use one on myself.
Do you want refresh if you can do it on Krisk as well?
As far as for the accessories, I actually do a mix and match just because extra counterattacks are good. Granted, you don't have War Master, so that's not going to really make a difference for you at this point. But he also hits on his buff extension as well, which is different from Hellborn, who does not hit on her buff extension. So getting him to refresh with just making the buff count increase, you also getting the hit on top of it, so you're not missing out on anything. Where with Hellborn, if you do that, and she's just cycling her A3 all the time, you're never
Yeah.
getting the hit, you're never getting the weaken in. So I try to stay away from the refresh on her and just use revenge. So she's using her 8-1 more.
So revenge, accessories, and stacking his defense up as high as possible. Yeah.
Yes.
Anything in particular?
Stalwart.
Oh, stalwart. Yeah, yeah.
I've ran through many a 6-star speed clips for this too.
Oh, he's ticked out.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good start. We needed it. We needed that. Okay, we've got a build. We've got to start. 288 speed, 5.6k defense. The accuracy is low though. 196 accuracy. What's going on there?
You got any room to glyph it?
Oh, it's the amulet, which
accuracy.
Yeah. There's two.
There's that streamer luck.
That's what we need. That's what we needed. Oh, look at this. Let's
Couldn't
go.
have planned it better.
That's what we call content creator luck. Yeah, we'll take it. So there, that feels good. So we got 5.5k defense, 288 speed, 244 accuracy. One build done. A bit poor. So I've got 3.2k defense on Lanicus. Is that just way too weak?
It's a good place to start at least. Again, she's not the stun target, and she's getting the 75%.
Yeah,
we'll say mitigation off of her from all the Guardian sets.
So what we've got here, 158% crit damage. Just feels very low. So I'm only pulling in 230 odd accuracy in this build right now. So I could get more attack and lose the accuracy, but I'd be down to like 140 odd.
Yeah, I mean the accuracy on him is a bonus because, like I said, you get the extra damage from the HP burn. You get the debuff removal of the increased attack, but
yeah,
the main point of him is to do damage. So that's definitely what we would want to focus on.
So I'd gain about another 15% damage if I lost the accuracy.
I would go that route.
Go that way, yeah.
So it boils down to you with everybody alive in the ratio on the team. You can make it to a turn 137 clan boss turn and then plus 4 additional attacks.
We are at 247, which I think was right, wasn't it? For her? 247. Yep. Yeah, that works. So just corpulent cadaver to go. 195 speed. Let's check that's good. Okay, so a couple of glyphs, and then I think we get it running. And so this is basically auto-friendly once you've done a setup, yeah?
Yeah, so do the presets because like Hellborn, we don't need her A2 at all. Krisk and Lanicus and Brogni all only need to do their A3 on the first turn, and after that, it never do it again. But other than the preset, it's full auto, and we're just watching to make sure Lanicus doesn't take an extra turn on her first turn. The two things you'll see is either Krisk as a lead or Hellborn as a lead, for no real reason other than obviously we want Hellborn's going to be the stun target, but Hellborn we want ahead of Brogni, or not Brogni, Corpulent, just obviously, so he doesn't become the stun target. But the difference becomes the order of the shields.
Yeah.
Placing Krisk ahead of Hellborn gives her the skill shield first before the set shield, so that we can replace it if we need to. Also, one thing I found that if we don't do that, because eventually you get to a point where you don't need a third shield. In your case, we're going to watch it and probably want to use the third shield as well. With Hellborn first and her skill shield going first, I've run into a lot of times where that first AoE hit is bigger than the HP shield that she's putting up because her HP is low. And then it gets wiped right away. So having Krisk first, now we don't have to worry about the HP level on Hellborn. You do want to switch their spots. You want Hellborn in front of Cadaver.
So this is what I was going to ask. So because she's in Guardian set, you actually want Hellborn in second spot?
I would put her in second spot. That's where I have her, yeah.
Because the Guardian set flows backwards through the team, right?
Yeah, as far as, I mean, that's going to make a difference on, I believe, the ones ahead. So like Krisk would be slightly, the order of the ally protection would affect Krisk slightly different than it will for Hellborn. But everybody else after that should be the exact same. And it's a very little difference either way. But Krisk is taking most of the damage anyway with the full ally protect.
So just talk me through again. Do we change any abilities here for Krisk?
A3 only opener and then don't use.
And don't use, okay.
Everybody else can stay the same.
We'll just do that as he will.
Hellborn, turn off the A2. That's fine. Corpulent, we would turn off the A2 and the A3.
Actually,
Um,
I wonder if there's any other champions in the game where they only use their A1. It's like that. The rest of my kit, irrelevant.
and still do 3 million damage per hit.
Yes. Brogni.
Brogni, same thing. Opener on the A3 and turn it off. And same thing with Lanicus.
Then that's it, yeah?
That's it.
And you start an auto, but you're just watching to see if Lanicus does her right ability first. Or sorry, she doesn't get an extra turn first.
Right, we don't want to take the extra turn.
We've got double shields on.
And there she did it.
So she took an extra turn, right? So we just got to cancel the run.
Yep. Just close
Yeah,
it out
so-
and reopen. No, don't
that
end
way.
the key. Force
That way.
close it.
Close your window. Close your game. Reload the game. That way you don't lose your key. I'm sure most people know that by now. What's your worst run here of resets? You know?
So at one point I had switched the speeds of Hellborn and Cadaver, which throws that tune off a little bit to where Hellborn goes a little slower than compared to Lanicus. So Lanicus actually gets an extra turn in there and an extra chance of her dropping all her buffs off. I think the one time
okay.
I had to sit here for 20 minutes to a half hour just to try to get the start because I needed an extra proc for the reflex in order for her not to lose all of her buffs.
Yeah.
But sometimes it works on the first try, sometimes it takes a dozen or so. I think we got
And
it
in terms
this
of
time.
RNG here, so I'm just kind of hoping that I get some of those refresh accessories kicking in at the right time. Like pretty much, it's just there's quite a lot of RNG that plays into this, but the overall build clearly is just going to be.
Did he just hit
let's say.
Cadaver? I think he just stun targeted Cadaver.
I think it was Hellborn on the right here.
Was it?
I think so. What's dictating who's being the stun target for me right now?
Should just be that she's in the lead and then top neutral affinity. So it would be Krisk if he didn't have increased defense on him.
Yeah.
So it should be second position,
It
which
just
would
goes
be
to second place. Yeah.
Hellborn.
Just check. I'm pretty sure I saw it come over here. Oh no, someone's saying it was Cadaver. So they're the same affinity.
Yeah, which seems weird that he would attack the third slot.
7. Got the same buffs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it
hitting
is.
Cadaver.
So that's a nightmare for us, right? In terms of.
Well, yeah, we definitely don't want Cadaver being the stun
Yeah.
target.
Okay.
He's just going to drop his shield even faster. I mean, it'll probably make everybody else last a little longer, but his shield's going to stop
His
increasing
shield's
as
where all the
much.
damage is coming from, right? So let's end the run. Hellborn. I think I did put Steadfast Mastery on Hellborn. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Good call out. Good call out.
Oh, okay. Actually, I did notice you did that, and I didn't even think about it.
She was Bulwark, wasn't she?
Just forward, good.
Yeah.
Then you went Sniper and Master Hexer. Yeah.
It's always good to do test stuff like this when you're doing a stream, because it's like I can't think what's going on, and then someone's just like, I know what it is, and then away we go. Yeah, that's
More
it. Whenever
eyes
someone's
never
building a
hurts.
team like this, you get loads of comments that people say it didn't work for me. I've got absolutely no idea why. She's just done that again.
She just took an extra turn, yeah.
And it's always something small. It's always something in a mastery that you've selected, or you've got a speed slightly wrong, or it could be so many different reasons. But you'll find it will be one small thing that you have to tweak. How long into the fight normally before you lose one of those shield buffs?
For me, Hellborn loses her first shield around turn 70, I want to say.
About 70, right? Okay.
I'm not sure it's going to last that long for you. I'd probably look at turn between 55 and 65, somewhere around in there.
Yeah. So at that point, you just reapply. Because for people that are seeing this for the first time, you see we've got one big shield here. This is the Brogni shield. And then you've got this other small shield, which is the Divine shield. That's why we've got everyone in a Divine set. And basically what happens is they scale independently with the Brogni shield increase. So you've got two shields coming together, scaling independently and growing independently. So Corpulent Cadaver does all of his damage from the shield growing. That's basically all it is. It's all coming from that. And you want both of those shields to grow at the same time. Plus, it keeps all of your team alive. That's what's keeping your team alive through the whole fight. And at some stage, the clan boss will hit through your first shield. It will only hit through one because it's not doing damage to both the shields at the same time. It's like it's hitting one. Once that goes, it will then start working on the second one. So you can actually reapply the Brogni shield and get it stacking again, which massively extends your fight if you're doing this type of team. What do you reckon? What's a kind of good level of damage in terms of this team, do you think?
As far as first try, I think if your current record's what, 230, you said, somewhere around in there?
Yeah, about 220 million is my current record.
I would go first try, see if you make a personal record on your first try.
We're going,
So 220,
will
230.
this be HH record over 220 mil? Actually,
It
this
only
is what I
gets
love
better.
about this comp, how quickly you see that number grow from corpulent.
Yeah, it grows exponentially. By the end of it, if you start getting a good run, you'll go up 10 million every turn easily.
Really, yeah. What's the most you've ever seen him hit for?
3.44 million is my highest I've ever gotten him up to.
So actually, the challenge was, will I beat my personal record of 220 million? We had 93% of people have got a lot of faith in this and have said yes. I think that's the highest I've ever had for a prediction, to be honest.
All right, we'll see. The speed tune itself should get us there. I imagine. So I got faith too.
Yeah. So, would it have run out of tune by now? If something was wrong with my numbers in some way, would we already have seen a fail? Do you think? By now?
No, you wouldn't see a fail. The speed tune, the comp still works without the tune. It's just a matter of it's more efficient with it
Yeah.
because you're squeezing all the attacks in between the clan boss attacks, so you're getting as much buff on the shields as you can before
You're
he
just
actually gets a
cycling through
swing.
your abilities quicker, I guess. So
Right.
look at these
So
shields though already. These shields are huge already. Stacked. I would like to, I guess it's just impossible. I would really be keen to see how often, things like the accessories and that kick in, but I guess it's just too fast moving, isn't it, to get a feel for that sort of thing.
yeah, as far as the revenge accessories, you notice just somebody comes out of order, and if you're actually trying to count, like whenever the speed tune breaks and I drop somebody on purpose,
Yeah.
I actually have to pause it every time just so I don't accidentally count a revenge proc as an
Right.
extra turn. So I'll pause it after every single time that the clan
Oh,
boss
really?
goes.
Yeah.
But the refresh accessories, you can see the reflex. It just says that the cooldown was increased, and then there was the little stopwatch kind of thing goes whenever it's the actual refresh accessories.
Yeah. We're already getting 400k hits out of this cadaver. Most of the time. You don't actually have it up all the time, do you? Decreased defense and weaken is dropping off in places, I guess, just because of Krisk isn't the stun target and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's part of the RNG. Basically, everybody has RNG tied to them. So with Krisk, it's the matter of can his masteries get the decreased defense up for 2 turns on the second AOE, so that
Yeah.
whenever he does do the stun hit, he still retains that decreased defense.
Yeah. I guess even if you didn't want to go for this style of, well, even if you weren't going for records and stuff like that, it still feels like it's going to be quite a quick time to get the one key.
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think the fastest one key is with this team. It's not this exact comp. It's actually, I think Murder Inc. did it. It was double Lanicus and then I think Draco,
Right.
and it
Okay.
was a 7-minute one key or something like that.
Was it? Yeah.
I think the fastest I built a version of this instead of Corpulent, I used Turvold at the request of Deadwood Jedi,
All
and I
right.
did it in I think it was 10.5 minutes for a one key.
Yeah. What sort of damage was he doing per hit?
Well, he I think was swinging for like 200 or 300 per attack, and he
Yeah.
has multi hitters and things like that. The difference, the total damage I ended up with was like 330 or something like that. Just because his damage doesn't scale, where Corpulent the later in the rounds, obviously he's hitting more, so it's
Yeah.
exponential as far as the damage going up. Where
Sure.
Turvold is hitting the same amount pretty much the whole fight, so he starts a lot faster than Corpulent does.
Yeah. And things like decreased defense and that, they don't make any difference to Corpulence hits, do they? Nothing makes a difference other than the shield growing.
Yeah, only the extra little bit for his actual hit on top of the shield bonus damage.
And
The one with the range is
800k
limited.
slams coming in now. 800s. Oh, come on. Let's get some millions going. That's what I want to see. Some millions per hit. when you say there's so much RNG as you run through this fight, how do you mean? Just in terms of the refreshes and stuff like that?
So yeah, there's the refresh gear on everybody. So like with Brogni, as many times as he does his A2, obviously the more times he does his A2, the bigger the shields, the more damage we're going to do. That's going to be based off of how many times the refresh procs or the reflex accessory procs or the refresh accessories proc. Uh, on top of that, the Giant Slayer proc also adds the size of the shield. So how many times we get the Giant Slayer proc to go whenever his A2 goes out.
Yeah.
All based on all RNG to increase the size of the shield. Plus, then we have how many times or whether his A2 procs at the right time in order to drop off the boss's increase attack before he gets a hit, because that's going
Okay.
to obviously reduce the damage that we're taking, things like that.
Yeah. So
And
because I didn't have the accuracy on my Brogni,
right,
that's
we're not
gonna
getting that.
make a difference, or not. I guess it'll make quite a significant difference with that.
Obviously, towards the later rounds, it's going to.
Yeah.
Early on, it's not. So that's one of the
Okay.
things we want to focus on the A2, just to keep the shields up because that's going to keep everybody alive the longest versus simply just trying to take away that increased attack. But
Yeah.
once you start tweaking and then you start adding some accuracy and things like that to his build, then you can start getting that on there.
Yeah.
But we've got how often Hellborn lands her weekend, and then again whether that lasts through the stun hit and things like that. Uh, Lanicus only brings 3 other champs with her on her ally attack.
Yeah.
So whenever
So
she
it
ally
could.
attacks, if they don't bring Corpulent, you're missing opportunities
It's
there.
like almost 1,000,000 damage per miss, isn't it? That's such a lot. Yeah.
And then the revenge accessories, so the times you get counterattacks and things like
Yeah.
that. Especially whenever you're like whenever I'm doing a world record push and it's essentially just him and the boss, and they're exchanging turns, and every time I want to see Corpulent go in for a revenge attack, but if I go 5 or 6 turns and he never procs, it's pretty
It's a lot of
disheartening.
damage that you've missed. Yeah.
Right at 3 million apiece,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
So
can
I just
reapply
cutting
that
in here
stature.
quickly. So the shield has come off. You'll see here the shield has fallen off of Hellborn. She's the person who's been taking all the damage. So if you're going, like, obviously we've already won Keith. We wouldn't need to do this normally, but if you're going for your highest record, you then reapply with the A3. It doesn't overwrite anyone else here?
No, because of the stack on the debuff count or the buff counts.
Yeah, so it will just apply now to Hellborn Sprite.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll
That's
reapply.
actually
See,
one of the
shield comes in here. That will now start restacking, and it will actually start eating away. Instead of this shield, which it's doing on everyone else, it will start eating away on this shield until it runs out, basically. So if you want to go for like pushing really high damage, you just need to reapply. We do need to get an extension here, though. Here we go. Is it possible that you don't quite make this come off and you have to reapply again? Yes, it is.
It would be possible. Shouldn't have an issue, I don't think, because she
We
should
start to do
buff
it too, yeah.
herself
Okay.
by the end of it. Um, but yeah, you shouldn't run into that, but I guess it is possible. And then one other point while you were talking is because of the stacks on each of the buffs is why it's not being replaced. One of the key points whenever starting this is once Krisk puts his shields up with his passive, you have to have a buff extender go in order to increase the stack on his shield, or else when Brogni does his A3 on his very first turn, he would replace Krisk's shields and throw off the order of the shields.
Ah, okay. So the original shield we're
Looks
building
like
on
Krisk
here is
just
actually
lost
the
his
Krisk.
too, which
Oh, was he? It's actually the
we just
Krisk
replaced it
shield.
with yeah. So it's Krisk's a passive is what the original skill shield is,
Yeah.
um, and we might be out of time because
Do I need to reapply here?
he's already filled his buff bar with another continuous heal, so he's got
Oh, I
10.
see. So I just carry on until we've got space. Oh, but it won't. We never have space, will we?
You would, I think you can manual it if you wanted to, and just do his A1 because he only applies
Other
the
people are
continuous
gonna.
heal on the A2, but I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, you're probably good enough to just keep going.
Yeah. So does that ever happen on your runs, or are you just basically pulling too much of a shield to really make that happen?
I don't need to use a third shield anymore. In fact, most of my, especially going for these ones, like Brogni and Lanicus, doesn't even need a second shield.
Right. The damage on the corpulent cadaver hits is just ridiculous now. 1.145. So you're saying you actually hit for 3 mil. What sort of turn count are you at before you down to that level?
On a standard run, I think I hit 3 mil about turn 120.
Okay.
On a run that I'm going to keep track of. When I hit the 3.44, which I sent you a screenshot of,
Yeah.
just for fun, was this basically his very last attack. So that was as high as he possibly was.
0.44 mil in one hit. It's so ridiculous. Oh, I love it. So ridiculous. About to hit the 200 million mark. 220 mil was my record before. I mean, it feels like it's kind of in the bag because this dude is just smacking for 1.2 mil per hit.
Oh, you for sure got it, yeah.
I just really like Clan Boss. It's just such a fun kind of setup what they've done with this, I think. Especially now that there's so many different avenues that you could go.
Yeah, building new teams and things like that is definitely probably the most enjoyable part of this game. I mean, even like dungeon speed teams and things like that, trying to build the comp and then to watch the comp succeed.
Yeah.
Uh,
So what we are here, 286 mil. We've absolutely like flown past our previous record by a long way. But Chris, look, Chris has got green health again. It's not looking good. Chris is going to be down. And like you say, once Chris goes down, that's pretty much a run over, yeah?
Oh, it goes downhill real fast from there, yeah. I mean, they'll probably still survive, especially with Corpulent. He'll probably use up the rest of his stack of buffs. You'll see the decline in
Yeah.
Corpulent's hits once
And
it goes
actually,
down.
Hellborn's just lost her other shield as well. So the two of them now in trouble. Krisk is down. Krisk is dead. So it's already, I think we just dropped damage on our Corpulent there. 300 mil. Still doing 1.37 mil slams, though. It's still nice. But she's going to drop soon as well. So I guess the speed tune just drops straight out the window now. Obviously, the 2-for-1's gone.
Yeah. So now it's just a matter of it'll maintain for a little bit, and then especially once Hellborn goes down.
My team, oh yeah, just lost 2 in one whack. My team versus yours then, because obviously you've done like 3 times my damage. Was my gear really that much worse than yours? Like, is it the Brogni build, or what do you think it is? It's actually
it's
caused
the
such a
Brogni
difference.
build. It's 100% the Brogni build.
Yeah.
The rest of the gear is pretty equitable as far as the defense levels on everybody else. But like I said, the harder Brogni hits, the more shield everybody has, and the longer they can stay without having all that defense on them.
Yeah. What was the highest you hit before you got your +4 Brogni? You know?
I think, around 500 mil or so,
Okay.
550.
What a difference! What a difference that empowerment has made then. That's
Yeah,
madness,
that was actually with a +2 Brogni at that
Oh, was
point.
it?
And then over Christmas they had the 10x for Brogni.
Yeah.
And I ended up pulling one so I could make him a +3, and I actually had a second one built. So I had 2 fully built Brognis, one with +3 and one unempowered.
Right.
So I took his gear off and ate him to make myself a +4, and it worked out.
And the turn count here for me to max out is, what do you say, 130?
137.
7. So I'm like 26 turns short of my minimum damage potential, really, before I even start to worry about, trying to push different type of damage masteries and stuff. It's actually, I've still just got more turns to last before we can do that.
Right. Yeah. The first thing you want to do is extend the run to the turn limit before you start trying to add ancillary damage into like Hellborn and Krisk and everybody else.
What's ridiculous here? So 328 mil, 3.8 mil from Hellborn, 8.3 mil from Chris, 6.2 from Lanicus. Brogni does a pretty respectable 62.6. 247 million from Cadaver. Oh man, so cool.
Pretty good for a first try.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, look, thanks for coming on and kind of sharing your experience and kind of talking us through how you've done your team. Yeah, it's been really fun, actually. Really fun.
Absolutely, it definitely was fun. Thanks for having me.
Well, guys, so you say you started streaming. How often are you planning to stream and that type of thing?
Yesterday was my first stream. I was waiting to get Spirit Clan Boss so that we could do some more record attempts. I'm gonna do far more often than that. I've got some my clan friends want some takeover stuff and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we try to do at least a couple times a week at least.
Well, look, MulletReaver, thank you very much. Guys, drop him a follow. Just put his stream stuff up. Drop him a follow. Go and check him out when he's doing some of his crazy runs. And yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was a good time.